So my original intent was to do a video about the history of the Oblongs before I did my review about it, but fuck that. I'm here to review it, not talk about where it came from. For now, let's just get into the show. We're going to be talking about my favorite episode of the whole series, Bucketheads. So we open up with the family driving to Milo's parent-teacher night at school, and as you can see, Bob is the one driving. Milo is desperately trying to come up with a reason to not go, and really, I can't blame him. I would have hated going through that shit as a kid. But luckily, my family doesn't go to parent-teacher nights. So naturally, Bob and Pickles manage to embarrass him.
Get away from me!
Wait, Tom, you hear about the man who fell into the lens grinder? He made a spectacle of himself.
Stop! I'll wet my pants! Helga, I want you to take this compass and drive it deep into my forehead.
Pickles eats a treat, and she sees that it tastes like shit. The teacher explains that the rich kids get catered meals brought to them at school, meanwhile all the other kids have to eat this crap, which inspires Pickles to buy a new stove for the school. We then cut to the family at home, and as it turns out, money is really tight, so they can't afford new clothes for Milo, but he goes to the malls with his friends to look at clothes anyway. After one of the rich kids accidentally steps in gum, he decides to get rid of his shoes and just buy new ones, just so he won't have to interact with his maid. And lucky for Milo, he gets his shoes. And lucky for a hobo, he gets Milo's friend. It turns out that Milo's shoes are not very well made, as they immediately dissolve in rain. Then again, that could just be acid rain. But whatever. Anyway, in a loving moment, Pickles gives Milo the best that she can. Sandwich bag shoes, a trash bag poncho, and of course, a bucket helmet.
Please, God, bring the lightning.
Naturally, Milo becomes the laughingstock of the school, until the cool kid Funzy expresses a liking for his style. And wouldn't you know it, everybody becomes a buckethead the next day. Angry that the rich kid stole his thing and refused to give him credit for it, he asks Pickles how fashion trends become popular. She then teaches Milo one of the morals of this story.
There's nothing to school. It's all attitude. It's not what you wear, it's how you wear it.
She then puts a ham sticker on his bucket and tells him to go make it cool. And by God, he does. Because that's when the cash starts flowing, and Pickles is now more determined than ever to get that stove. We then skip to after school the next day to see that Milo has not only become accepted by the rich kids, but he is also now their trendsetter. And obviously he ends up ditching the people who have been his friends all along. And I will admit that that is a dick move, no matter what show you're watching. So now we're at the A to Z, a shop owned by a British chap. And then Milo declares the shop to be uncool, and we get my favorite moment in the whole series.
Fiddly Pip, when will you assimilate?
It's amazing how one gag can make this my favorite episode. Milo then goes home to his parents, who are working on a new perfume that Pickles has created that smells like flowers and ham. Of course, Milo has to let the popularity go to his head, and he decides to go solo with his fashion, much to Pickles' dismay.
Milo!
So Milo recruits his friends to help out with his fashion show. Naturally, they're pissed about what a dick he's been, but their desire to be cool leads them to agree to work with him. But of course, his fashion show quickly dissolves into a shit show, and the rich kids then quickly find a new trend, which again was instigated by Funzy.
Hey, cool beak!
Hey, Funzy likes her beak.
cake! Quick! To the bake store!
So, with his reputation ruined, Milo comes crawling back to Pickles, who is quick to forgive him as she herself understands how popularity can go to one's head. Her ex-boyfriend, Tommy Vinegar, the fashion designer, shows up, and he expresses interest in what they're doing. However, he doesn't like the perfume, to which Pickles responds that she doesn't care what he thinks. So he decides to outright buy the rights to the perfume because he figures Pickles must know something that he doesn't. So, with the money to buy a new stove and get blasted, the episode ends on a high note with the family hugging each other. So, that was Bucketheads. I decided to pick this episode because I feel it is a nice contrast to Peggy's Pageant Fever from King of the Hill. Because where they tried to make an episode about self-confidence, they failed because they used Peggy. Meanwhile, the Oblongs did a fantastic job. Pickles teaching Milo about confidence and not giving a shit about what other people think about you is truly a message that I can get behind. So all in all, this is a show that I highly suggest watching. Maybe you'll love it, maybe you'll hate it, but as far as I'm concerned, this show is criminally underrated. Thank you for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe.
There's a family by the landfill with hazardous foam in their happy, glowing home. Oblongs.